Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne and you are on Ginger Chick Rehab. And in today's video, I get to team up with my husband Chris and share the process how we take salvage finds and make them into beautiful home decor. And if you have a love of the outdoor with spring coming, I'm getting itchy fingers to get out there and start working in my yard and putting my stuff from my shed back into my outdoor decor. Do y'all have outdoor decor? So for our first project, we're going to use some pallet wood. I love pallet wood because it's already aged, it's beat up, you can change the color, you can paint it. It's just nice strong wood and it holds up really well for the outdoor. So what Chris is doing is he's just making me a slab basically and taking 3 pieces of pallet wood and attaching them. So what he's using to attach them is he's putting some Tite Bond glue, and then using that wonky piece, cut it down into 3 different pieces so that he has some backer boards for these 3 pieces to stay together. So the Tite Bond will be a nice permanent glue, and then some brad nails to nail it in place. Then just recently I stumbled across some stencils that I had no idea that she was a blogger and that I had many of her inspirations on my Pinterest boards of things that I wanted to make. So some of today's projects are funky junk stencil inspired, and of course I got my hands on some more of the funky junk stencils with you all to share how wonderful they are. So as you see, I've got the shed stencil, I've got this rusty pitchfork top, and now I'm going to go ahead and paint these boards black. I know y'all, I'm going to paint them black and not stain them, but just wait. So I'm using a Fusions paint in the coal black. The nice thing about Fusions paint is it has the primer and it has the top coat in it, so it should be perfect for outdoors. And then also it was a 1 coat coverage. Ooh, you gotta love that. So I've got a little bit of a broken top up there, but it's pallet wood. This is outdoors. It's supposed to look like it's been aged. So I just want to make sure that I'm putting my stencil far enough down where the pitchfork head is going to be. I was trying to figure out, like, do I want to off-center it? It just happens that the whole shed fits on one of the boards. Well, I believe this one might come in 2 different sizes, but don't quote me on it. I'm not positive. So I think I did get the smaller one. So I'm going to use a little bit of spray adhesive to spray the back of the stencil to help it not shift around when I'm using my stencil color. And I'm going to be using the Barn Red from Dixie Belle. I really need to order some more fusion paints because that is my last on my red, and it's a little bit on the thick side, but I just need a little bit of red to do this stenciling. So now that my red is dry, I did help it along with a heat gun. And now I'm just taking some 220 sandpaper and I'm going to go ahead and distress the edges. I don't want a ton of the wood underneath showing through because I wanted that bold statement of black and red. So now to attach the pitchfork, he actually sprayed the pitchfork with a couple coats of Weather Defense. It's a wonderful outdoor metal spray. It looks a little shiny at first, but it'll calm down. He didn't video himself spraying that. That just really helps preserve that patina. So all he's doing is he's taking some heavy gauged wire, he's drilling holes through random places where most of the weight would be, and then he's twisting the back of it to make sure that it is good and on there and secure. for our next project, it's kind of just that same similar. He's taking pallet wood. He's got two big pieces, a small piece in the middle, and he's cutting another piece to make a backer board, that way that these three pieces stay together. If you're wondering, would the nails just be enough? With Michigan weather, we're not going to chance it. So tight bond glue and the nailing from the front and from the back is definitely going to help these pieces of wood stay together. And I love the color of the two side ones. Oh my goodness. But that middle one, you know, it's pallet wood. And when he actually works at a pallet shop, so we don't have to disassemble y'all the pallet wood. He does have to buy it. So it's not like it was free. But it's well worth always being able to have a stock of it. So what I'm doing now is I want to take away those really sharp edges of it being cut down and soften them up. And then I don't want to take a lot of the roughness of the wood, because I think that is a wonderful patina of this wood. And to take away that very bright blonde that's coming in the middle of these two darker ones, I'm going to use some of my watered down antiquing wax. So it's Waverly antiquing wax, but I also mix Waverly ink chalk paint in with mine, and it really gives it more of that gray, dirty color that I'm looking for. So unless I taped it off or stained it before, there's no way not to get it on the other two, but it will be fine if it darkens those other just a little bit. I just don't want that blonde in the middle really taking the whole center stage, because I got some beautiful decor that I'm going to be putting on this next. See, I told you I had some beautiful decor that I wanted to put on this board. And then I have this other little slat piece that we just recently got to put some signage. So the same concept of drilling holes and wrapping wire through the boards to hold the metal pieces on hand. You know, I can envision this. It could be in your house, but it could also be on somebody's front porch. You could hang it outside. So you really want to make sure that it's good and secure. And for me, wrapping wire just seems to make sense. So drilling the holes, pushing it through, and then twisting it on the back is really going to hold these heavier pieces on this wood. But on this little slat of wood, it is just a little slat of wood. I don't know if it was dividers. I don't know what it was, but I loved it because I knew I could put some wordage. And so I'm just going to take the wild flower of this Funky Junks seed sign and put just simple words. And the fun about these stencils is you don't have to use the whole thing. You can take the pieces and parts of the stencil that you want to use. And I'm going to use the Fusion paint in the Victorian lace for my stencil color. But to attach this little sliver of wood, I don't want to just screw into it, because the chances are the screws would just make the wood split. So Chris is pre-drilling some holes before attaching it with some screws. And then we'll just try to center this cute little wreath that I've thrifted. I just love taking all these salvage finds and putting them together. You know, you kind of pick up pieces and parts in your journey out there in the wild, and it's so fun when they start to come together. So we'll take a little break from stenciling, and this next project does not have any wording whatsoever, but we're still using some pallet wood and some salvaged finds along with this. We're going to make this windmill look like a salvaged find, but yes, I absolutely love, you can almost see the vision right here. So first off, Chris has to cut off one of the ends of this spindles from a stairway railing is what I think it is, but I can't pass these pieces up when I see them, and I'm always happy when I finally have an idea of what to use them for. Chris actually cut off the end that had the smaller tip, and now he needs to make the round piece fit into the square hole. So I know I always seem like I ask a lot of him, but I know it's because he can do it. So see, look at, he already had an idea of how he could make this happen just by using his sander, keep sanding it, working it, whittling it down until it fits. This piece of palette wood is going to be used for the brace part that's going to go against a surface. So I love everything about palette wood. Look at all that distressing. Oh my goodness. So all I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit. It's very straight cuts. I want to round those edges a little bit. I don't want to be, I love that it's all rough and tough, but I don't want anybody to get any splinters. So I do need to smooth a couple of the edges down. Then I want it to look a little bit more aged, so I'm going to use some more of that watered down antiquing wax that has that Waverly chalk paint in it, and it'll just give it more of that aged weathered wood appearance. So this windmill is a newer windmill, so I want to make it look old. So I'm actually trying out a new technique that I saw somebody else do, and I think I'm really going to like this one. So this one is some black. So I'm starting off with some black wax, just some kind of a black. I'm sure you could I could have probably used paint. Also, I just chose to use the black wax just for the control of it all. And then where I want my rust look to be, I'm putting some school glue. I'm just dabbing it on, not terribly thick by any means, just a little bit here and there where it would naturally rust. So next, yes, it is cinnamon. And I know many have tried this, but I have tried it and didn't really get the look that I wanted. So when I saw that black underneath, I'm like, maybe I can get it to do it a little bit better. So yep, I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some cinnamon on, but I'm also going to be using some nutmeg. So it's kind of going to give it a little bit more dimension with the two different colors on powder form. And then I'm just going to lightly dust it, tap it, get it into that glue and to stick into that waxed area. And I'll just keep adding layers until I get the look that I want. And I'm also going to be doing the chain. There's a chain that's going to be helping this hang down. So I want to give it a little new aged also. So I put the black wax on there. That's the black that you see. And now I'm just adding the school glue. And then I'll go back in with the cinnamon and the nutmeg. And what really is going to transfer this dusty powder and make it look like real rust is sealing it in with this weather defense. So now Chris is going to go ahead and attach the spindle to the piece of palette wood that's been stained. I'm on the fence if I was going to paint the spindle or not, so we'll just keep working with it until it gets to the point that we put everything together. So he's going to go ahead, add a little bit of wood glue. You know, the thought is that somebody would have this outside, so it's all those little extra steps to make sure that something stays together. So he's going to go ahead, wood glue, some brad nails to hold it in place, but he's also going to go ahead and drill a hole to put a dowel in there. That way, you know that it's going to be nice and sturdy. So now, oh my gosh, is that rust not gorgeous, y'all? That is probably my favorite rust I have ever done. Okay, so now he needs to attach the chain. So he's got to figure out where it's going to hang evenly. He needs to drill holes into the spindle to add some hooks. I also still need to glue on the finial, but that's why I haven't decided about painting the spindle quite yet, because I knew there was still some more processes that were going to be happening to it. So now I did decide to go ahead and give it a fresh coat of paint, even though it just, you see that new wood from it being drilled on, and it just, I don't know, I just needed to clean it up a little bit. I love the salvage, and we can age it, and it'll age more when it's outside, but when you're a reseller, there's just something sometimes about cleaning a piece up. So I'm just using some of the Fusion's Victorian lace to give it a fresh coat. Now, after 2 coats of fresh white, I'm just going to go back in and de-stress it, age it, hit those sharp edges, hit the round parts where the natural wear would be. And then now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to epoxy the finial on. So this is a 2-part epoxy. It has a hardener, it has the epoxy itself, so once I add it, I can stick it onto that. This finial actually is heavy metal, and I actually did do the rust patina on this one. This one was already rusty already, so it didn't need a ton, but yes, so we're going to go ahead and get that stuck on there so it will be good and secure. I'll be sharing these two tomorrow, because if not, this video would have been over an hour long. So I hope you make it back to see these two projects.